This video is to help you learn how to create a iterative control structure or a loop all on your own. If we look at the lesson, it asks us to use one of two different loops. So we have the repeat until or the while loop. Those are the only two loops that I am allowing you to use. And these are called C blocks. So if you see them referred to as that. The little symbol at the bottom here means it goes, once it gets down to this point, it goes back up to here if it runs the code. So we're going to go ahead and create a variable first. So I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to name the variable loop control. Loop count. Okay, submit. There it is. I have this variable here, so I'm going to bring that over. First thing I want to do is I want to set my loop count to equal 0. So that basically, this is called the initialization process. So I'm initializing my loop to be equal to 0. And then I'm going to throw my repeat until block on. I'm going to come up and I'm going to find a Boolean expression. So basically I have these three Boolean expressions that I can use. I'm going to go ahead and use the greater than. So this number here is greater than this number here. If that's true, it returns a true. So in order to do that, I'm going to throw my loop count in there, and I am going to make this 8 because I want my loop to loop 8 times. I'm going to throw that in there, and then I'm going to go back to my variables, and I'm going to change my loop count by 1, loop control by 1. So I throw that in so that it's at the bottom of my iterative loop. And then let me see, I am going to come up here and I think I'm just going to do a sound. So actually I'm going to wait 0.5 seconds. And then I'm going to play the siren sound. And we'll see, I haven't ever done the siren sound, so we'll see if this actually works. And so as this runs, basically what's going to happen, once I hit the start the program on my computer brain or my robot brain, it's going to come in and it's going to set loop controller to 0. Then it's going to come down and it's going to say, is 8 greater than loop controller's current value, which is 0? It's going to say yes. So it's going to wait 0.5 seconds before it does anything, play a siren sound, and then go down to change the loop controller by 1. So it's going to add 1 to it. If I wanted to decrement, that's called incrementing. If I wanted to decrement it, I would actually change that to a -1. The same thing. This is the incrementing. This is the initialization. I initialize my variable to 0. This is the condition. I set up my condition so that as long as 8 is greater than my variable, it's going to run. And then this block right here is my increment decrement block. And it currently is set to increment because it's adding 1 to loop count. So every time it comes through, every time it gets down to this point, it's going to add 1 to loop count. So as it's the first time, 0 becomes 1, comes back up to here, checks to make sure that 8 is greater than 1. It is, so it runs this code, comes down here, adds 1 to the 1, which makes it 2, comes back up here, is 8 greater than 2? It is, so that's true. So it should play the siren sound basically 8 times. So let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to connect to my brain. Oh, I forgot to turn my brain on. Now I've got a brain. Connect to the lowest number. Now I've got a brain in here. I am going to save my code as iterative test. I'm going to save it. That way I can pull it out of my documents. You always want to save your stuff so that if you can load it back up and use it, because the VexCodeIterative doesn't save them for you. If your computer resets or your browser resets, you'll lose it. So I'm going to download this, And now I've got it on my computer, or on my robot brain. So I'm going to run my first program and run it. We'll see if it actually makes the beep beep sound. Yeah, I thought I probably had to have a siren. So anyway, it didn't actually work because I don't have a siren in built into my computer, my robot. But that would be what would happen. It would wait every half second. It would blow a siren blast.